flew in from New York on the Memorial Day weekend, so thank you for taking your long weekend. So Kiran graduated in computer engineering and has been in the media space for about 8 years developing new digital products at NBC and Fox. Today he will talk about how Getty is building artificial intelligence products. Kiran?
Yeah, thank you for the kind intro. Appreciate it. So kind of what I'm here to talk about is about AI and how we've kind of engulfed it into our business, and also how we're building other products and workflow products to help you guys at the end of the day. I'm hoping you guys know who Getty Images is, but it's to kind of take a step back and give you a high-level intro of it. We're kind of the visual content powerhouse, and we kind of give you creative and editorial images, creative insights, and custom solutions, right? Custom solutions being custom content, and studio. Custom content being, hey, we have a creative brief, we were looking to kind of get a specific image that doesn't exist in your library, could we reach out? And then with that comes also the workflow solutions with your DAM systems and your actual boards. With that, everything is kind of really powered by our massive library, coming from 300 million creative and editorial images and 7 million real videos. So with that, over the past 18 years, we've kind of focused in on a lot of metadata and kind of, hey, with all these images, we need to understand what's in it, how can you get to it, and what kind of story is that image telling, right? Kind of with that, we've kind of been put into a specific position where AI is kind of ripe for our picking, and we can really work with all that clean data and help you guys solve problems. And before I get to talking about that, I want to kind of take a step back and understand what AI is. From my understanding, what most people think AI is, it's this Terminator approach. We're going to have people coming over and taking over the world, and the iRobot mentality. But in reality, what really AI is, it's just a server in the middle of nowhere, probably. And it's just a real computer with quite a lot of algorithms, right? And it's kind of just made up of algorithms that looks for patterns. At the end of the day, we're not at that Terminator level. I wouldn't say we're probably not gonna reach it within our lifetime, all right? And it's kind of looking only at learning one specific thing. For example, if you take the Watson's only very good at doing trivia. And if you tell it to go play chess, it's probably not going to do very good. And it's been trained to only learn that specific thing. At this point, we're looking at it in a very, very narrow approach. And with that, there are specific limitations. So kind of walking through here, the limitations are we're very creative as human beings. We look at everything in a very broad approach, and we can adapt very quickly. Right? If the situation comes down to an emergency is happening, hey, the world's blowing up, or we need to write an article and have it published within 10 minutes or 5 minutes, we can do that. But AI is very focused in on, hey, it can do these specific tasks and consistently do them and solve those problems over and over. And it's very good at doing it in that narrow focus, but it's not very creative, I would say that. It's very technical and looks at very little details. With that, I can kind of walk you through what AI at Getty Images looks like. And kind of our team is focused on taking all this metadata, understanding it, and kind of seeing, hey, how can we build workflow products and really build valuable products where you guys are, instead of doing these nuanced, I would say mundane tasks, could we let AI do those things for you? And you guys can focus in on very, very much of the harder problems, basically, it's your skill set. With that, what we do is kind of look at imagery in this sense. So we took all our images, we put it in this is more of a three-dimensional approach. We put it in a 256-dimensional neural network, and we kind of look at, hey, what are these images doing? How closely are they related? So if you can see, some of them are color in style, they're very close. Some of them are in content, they're very close. And we'll kind of start to understand imagery in this sense and say, hey, based on this, could we solve any problems? How do we, for example, you're interested in looking at and finding a specific image, you understand imagery, and you're saying, hey, this is kind of what I want, but I don't really want this exact image. I want Donald Trump, but I want him a little bit more angrier or a little bit more happier, and how do we get to that? So you can probably search and send us that image and also put some specific data around it saying, hey, I want an angry Donald Trump. All right, we'll look at Donald Trump and look at that space and kind of look around it and understand, is there an angry Donald Trump images, which probably there are quite a lot of. And then with that, we kind of built out 4 specific products that we're looking at. The first one I can kind of dive in and talk about, which is Brand X-Ray. Brand X-Ray is a little bit of a dev product that we're working on, and we're trying to really understand brands in the core sense of it. So when you're looking at brand guidelines, you kind of have your logo, your typography, your imagery, and then your color, right? And that's kind of the standard brand approach. And with that, when you're a large company, like let's just say Bank of America or any kind of big financial services, you have a core system and then you have regional offices. Now, if you have a brand at that level, and how do you kind of disperse that guideline all the way through from all around the world, right? Like you can have regional offices doing their own thing and not looking at imagery in the same sense. So what we do with Brand X-Ray is kind of understand your image, have the creatives kind of tell us, hey, these are the colors, these are the photography we're looking at, this is the content, this is how we speak to our brand. And we kind of scale that into an AI and say, hey, we understand your brand, now let's figure out in your DAM, how well is your brand kind of displayed? And how are you talking about your brand? And we kind of go through your full set and tell you you're scoring about 80%, right? But the other 20% isn't really well done. How can we replace it? Now, on the flip side of it, if you have many, many creatives all around the world and you need to have the same message, they can constantly kind of hit that well, and it's consistently going through and making sure that well is at a high level and it's at 100%. And the flip side, and the other part is kind of also creating a filter where when new images are coming through, we'll consistently check to make sure that that's meeting the brand guideline, and it's kind of always speaking your message. And one other concept that we did hear about, a story that I found very baffling to me, was a company wanted to rebrand, and they were interested in looking at their imagery and look through and how do we kind of rebrand through everything. And somebody at Getty Images actually spent time, sat down with 80,000 images, and one by one picked out what is on brand, what is off brand, and spent about a month kind of going through this process, which is not a very fun process in my opinion. So that's something an AI could come in and say, hey, we understand your brand, let's just scale it to 80,000 images and get it out very quickly. The next thing is Cortex. Cortex is a partnership that we did, which is the company Cortex. What they look at social, and they're trying to understand, hey, there's 33,000 brands in social. How do they portray themselves in social? And how do they engage in social? And they've been kind of focused on that data set, and marrying that with our imagery, we're able to kind of tell you, hey, you should post at this time in this social platform, and with these colors and with this content. Now, let's say they're telling you to post 20, 30 times, you're not going to have all that imagery on the fly. So kind of Getty Images can really quickly connect with that system and tell you, hey, you don't have that image, get it to me from Getty Images, and we'll kind of slap it on there for you. And you're able to scale your social team from maybe 2, 3 to be a very massive army. And the second to last piece is AI training sets. This is kind of more or less servicing the AI industry or the data science industry. With every data science model, you need very high quality data, and you need to make sure that it's kind of taught well with the right data and clean data. So the way I talk about AI, it's more or less a 3-year-old kid or a 4-year-old kid. You can tell it, hey, this is a wall, this is X, Y, and Z in an image, but the kid needs to understand what's what and what is in the image and why is it labeled that, and kind of give it full understanding of it. And the kid can then take it from there, right? So that's kind of how AI approaches everything. And with that, you need to have very high levels of metadata. And we're kind of put in a specific situation where we have 300 million images. We have about 280,000 keywords, which spans across 14 languages, which ends up becoming 17 million pieces of metadata around it. What we're doing is kind of helping other companies learn, teach their AI at a high level and tell them, hey, use our imagery, use our data, and make sure your AI is actually doing the right thing. With that comes biases. Hey, your AI is not very ethnically equal. We can kind of help with that. And we are working with some big clients around the world with this. And then the last piece is probably what's more valuable to you. It's called Lightbox. What we're doing with Lightbox is kind of, in this sense, looking at your articles, looking at the content that you write, and we're kind of extrapolating all the information that's on it. And it's more or less, hey, how do we get you to the right image as quickly as possible so that you don't have to, from an SEO race perspective or any of that, spend too much time looking through Getty's library, Getty's imagery to find the right image. What we end up doing is, hey, we've looked through your full content, pick out entities, pick out location, pick out thematic things that you're talking about. So from that sense, hey, you're talking about Donald Trump, he's angry, but he's actually talking about social media, it's about Google, it's about Facebook, and these specific other things. And we're kind of, what we do is use this concept called natural language processing. And we understand the image, understand the sentiment against it, understand the salience levels against it, and give you a springboard to look at imagery. In this sense, what you're doing is we're keyword clustering everything and saying, hey, here's all the people that we're talking about, here's the locations we're talking about, here's the themes that we're talking about. Now, instead of searching one at a time on Getty Search, what we could do here is kind of run multiple threads at the same time, and you're looking at everything in a specific format where, hey, all right, I want to put 3 images. I could put a person, I could put a location, I could pick the thematic, or pick 1 or 2 of them and kind of tell a better story with your content. I can kind of give you a quick demo of it, if you're able to see it. So for example, since I love Donald Trump so much, here is a Donald Trump article. You can actually copy and paste this. You can actually write the article within the app itself. So if I'm running this, if I have internet, I don't think I have internet. I do, but I don't know why it should be running. Yeah, I don't think my internet's running, but yeah, I don't know if that would be able to help. I'm not able to find your hotspot. I guess I can kind of just speak through it with this. So here, what would happen is you're putting in all your text, pick any article that you have. We will kind of let you understand, hey, these are all the concepts we have in there. Did we pick everything out? And with that, we will also tell you stuff that we're not really putting at a high weighting, but there's other specific things that we're talking about. And then we're kind of putting those in specific buckets. And then we're kind of giving you a standard Getty search on it, right? But it's a little different where we're taking caption data, we're taking keyword data, we're understanding our imagery with AI and marrying it with some AI on the other side, which is understanding your content of what you're writing. And then we're kind of clustering them within a high dimensional space and putting it up there with basically these answers. And what we end up doing is letting you kind of pick one area you want to go down and dig a little deeper and say, hey, I want to put in specifically, hey, Donald Trump in the first line, I want a picture of them together. We'll kind of put that there. And you can kind of drag and drop each one of these specific concepts in each line into the other one or above or below, and then kind of hone in on what you're really looking for. I mean, that's kind of the gist of the product. Any questions? I mean,
You talked about using AI to create an image. That would be kind of a composite of, maybe 80,000 images of a angry Donald Trump, right? But is that what I'm getting at?
So we don't create images. I mean, there is concepts of where we could create images, but it's very, very far off right now. Mm-hmm. Like there are fake celebrities that are out there, people are creating, but it's not very exact and very, I would say, valuable in that sense, right? What we do is understand imagery. So we have AI that kind of understands emotion, right? So, hey, we have a picture of Donald Trump. Can we understand emotion of Donald Trump in that image, right? And then tie that to our metadata, understanding, hey, a contributor has put up an image of Donald Trump and saying it's sad, but in reality it's angry, and we're kind of teaching the AI what is going on. So now if you're looking for that image of Donald Trump and you're giving us keywords of what you're kind of trying to look for, we will kind of marry that data with our data, which we've consistently kept together with AI and looked at the emotional models and looked at facial recognition models, and then we'll kind of marry that and give you that right image.
But you wouldn't be creating a composite. Like you would be...
Like we wouldn't create an image.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, we're not creating images.
Okay. I know.
We're not going down that path.
I was going to say, how would we know? But anyway. So
I mean, that's going to be a thing that people are trying to do. And there are also models that we're building and other companies are building to kind of fight that, where you're saying, hey, can you kind of detect what the image is actually doing? Is it fake? Is it real? By pixel, we will look at it using AI, right? And then understand if that is actually really fake and if it's just generated through other computer data points.
So that's an application you can do. You can do. You could tell us what's fake.
Yes, that is something that's. So the story I would say in that sense, it's like the ad blocker approach, right? There are companies that really want the ads out there, but there are companies also fighting the ad blocker. There's going to be both sides to that, right? There are people that are going to really want to create imagery with fake stuff, and that's just going to be something that people are going to try to do. I'm sure if you go to your StreetEasy or Trulia or whatever real estate companies, some of them are really creating fake bedrooms. And fake rooms and everything else, but there are companies that are going out there to detect that stuff. So Facebook is working on some stuff like that because of their own problems, but they're looking to do stuff like that. So there's going to be fights on both sides for it.
Okay, thank you.
Could this be integrated into WordPress or another CMS so that we type our story and it automatically adds the image for us?
So yeah, we could. We haven't gotten to that point. We just launched it onto an API. We're looking to put it into WordPress, but it's more about understanding what that scale is and seeing how many people actually want to put it in WordPress versus a direct to their CMS versus actually just going to our site. And I think we're open to trying all those things. So. Oh, awesome. Thank you, guys. The next person.
No, thank you very much, Kiran. That was very informative. So you'll be around if you want to see that demo. We have tried the demo at our work, and it's very cool, the Lightbox demo, putting in some keywords or the URL, and it detects and recommends some images. So, yeah.
Yeah, come on by.
I'm sure the internet will work out there, not necessarily in here. Okay, a very quick 5-minute break, and a real 5-minute break this time as we get set up for our next presentation, 360 Journalism. There's also 2 really interesting, iconic photos for the Blue Jays in Better Times. And if you put your business card or your name on a piece of paper, we're going to do a draw at the end of our luncheon keynote, which is going to be right after our next session. So please go grab a coffee, bathroom break, whatever, in 5 minutes to be back. Okay? So Chris will come in now.